Well, hello to all our friends today. It's a Dad Dash morning. I am Dad Dash. My name is Jeff Thomas Black. My name is Dad Dash, Jeff Thomas Black. You get to know me by the Dad Dash. Let's see, what are we doing here? Welcome to the chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Abide by our community guidelines. Well, that seems like a good idea. I think you should be abiding by the community guidelines. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good morning to you. Let's see what we got here. Hello. 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 Somebody say hello to me so I know that I'm not alone in this world. I got my neck gaiter on. It's cold today. It's cold. Been outside for a long time. I live outside. I like to live outside, but it's cold. It's cold. Can y'all hear me all right? Can y'all see me all right? It's a Dad Dash Sunday morning. Let's see. Let's see. What are we going to do? Hope everybody out there is doing well. I hope Craig Nye is doing well. I hope Brad's doing well. Hope that bastard Thomas Schubeck Dash doing well. Let's do. Well, I didn't even have really much of an agenda. Whoa, I'm fumbling my phone. Let's see who's out there messaging me. Can I see my chats? Oh, chat. Well, we got 3 people on there. We got 3 individuals on the YouTubes. Hello, Eli. Hello, Eli. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you. West coast to west coast, north to south. More north to the south. Hello, Eli. Good to see you, sir. You know, this is interesting. I'm glad you're here, Eli, because what I've been watching this morning is not about the gig tubes at all. It's not about the gig tubes. It's about the economy. And some of you may know, some of you may not know that I'm a real economist, if there is such a thing. There are people called economists, and if they exist, I might be one. And so, been thinking a lot about the economics of our nation and the economics of our brethren and sistren in our workforce. Yeah, you know, Coach Eli too, the Dad Dash voice. It's about 99% Jeff Thomas Black with just a little twang in it. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. It's a little bit too natural, if you know what I mean. It's a little bit too natural. Maybe Dad Dash Jeff Thomas Black is like Jeff Thomas Black with one hit of the marijuana or something. I don't know. I don't really need marijuana to perform. But anyway, it's just a slight deviation. It's a very, very slight deviation. I don't even know if I'm doing it right now. I'm just doing a little bit of a twang because I've been doing the Dad Dash for so long that I lose myself in the character. That happens. It happens. It happens. Well, the global economics, wow. People. Anyone that thinks that they might be getting by on this thing called the gig economy and off their iPhone or their Android phone, living on an income and feeding themselves and having a roof over their head, boy, I don't think you are. I do not think you are. Here's the problem. And you can see it right now. You know what I was watching just before I logged on? I was watching the Necro Lounge. So I don't know. I don't subscribe to any of these people, but I check in on them occasionally. So I don't know if Mr. Flex is broadcasting this morning. I don't know if Cherry's broadcasting. I don't know who's doing what this morning, but I did check in on the Necro. Which is an interesting name, by the way, right? Because the Necro is kind of like the vampiric persona of some person in a YouTube account. And so, well, it's kind of humorous, but it's also kind of creepy because let's say what Thomas Schubeck calls the other side of the aisle, the people that are addicted to the grift and the graft and the gig tube and the lying and the glitching and the marketing and the Harry Campbells and the Steve Johnsons rideshare rodeos and the Dad 13s and the Kim Side money plans and the Pedros and the Hannibal is thirsty and the Mike's delivery plans or whatever the name is. What is Mike? Mike got a twin brother named Matt. Matt and Mike, the Matt and Mike show. So the Matt and Mike show joined the Harry Campbell show yesterday. Did you notice that? Matt and Mike show joined the Harry Campbell show, and Harry Campbell was first up in the chat, just like he was when very little old me, Jeff Thomas Black, yours truly, was guest on that show on January 29th of 2023. And you can watch that on the DoorDash Sucks channel or on the Gig Apps Exposed channel. It's a hidden on the Rideshare Guy channel, so you can't search it. That's interesting, isn't it? You can't search it, but there's lots of links to it. You can watch it, but you can't search it. But you can watch it. You can't search it, but you can watch it. You can. Now, why can't you search it? Well, for the same reason that Mike's money plans and Mike and Matt's money plans were on the Kim's Rideshare Guy Harry Campbell show last night with the Sergio Avedian, right? The reason that we're doing all that, and look at how scruffy Dad Dash is. Dad Dash is about the scruffiest motherfucker you ever seen, isn't he? Dad Dash is a mess. I'm a mess. Why am I a mess? Because I'm not worried about me right now. I'm worried about you. I'm very, very, very worried about you, all of you. I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about you. I'm worried about the world. Right now, we're heading into a time that's going to be one of the darkest times of humanity. And since we only are living now, it's going to be our darkest time ever. It's going to be our darkest time of humanity. Hey, Stephen Arrow, glad to see you here, sir. This is it's a sobering day. I've been focusing on the economics this morning, not the Glitchgate issues. But when I tuned over into the Necro Lounge, which I was checking out just before here, it was a bunch of people talking about how they ain't making ends meet anymore. Things are getting worse. People are quitting. I think it was maybe, I don't know, there's some guy named Bobby. I'm not sure who that guy is. But there's some guy on there that's talking about how he quit his W-2 job last night, and he's talking to his boss, and his boss is saying, "You don't really want to quit?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And his boss is really worried about himself and what sucker he's going to find to do this awful work for not enough pay in the near future. So what does that mean to you? Well, let me say one other thing. So I used to check in on the Flex Lounge, right? The Flex Lounge that we'd check in on before Flex took a vacation. And, well, yes, sir, Stephen Arrow, money's drying up. I'll explain that to you because I've been telling you that for a number of years now as an economist, but you guys ain't been watching me as an economist. You don't know me as an economist. But I'll explain that to you because I'm going to talk to you today as an economist. So there was this thing before Mr. Flex took his sabbatical. Mr. Flex was in his car, and after the Glitchgate just started, people were like, well, Mr. Flex does not have a W-2 job. And Bobby got on there, some guy named Bobby got on there, all hysterical, saying, yes, he does, no, he don't. And they're going back and forth whether Mr. Flex has a W-2 job or not. It seemed very passionate argument. Seemed to be a very passionate discussion. And one would ask themselves, why would anybody care if Mr. Flex has a W-2 job or not? What difference would that make to the world? Well, maybe it's the economics. Maybe it's the economics of the situation. If Mr. Flex is sitting at the top of, let's say, a metaphorical pyramid. Well, you've heard of a pyramid scheme. So a pyramid's just like a pyramid scheme, but it's a shape, right? So a pyramid's just a shape. That's kind of like if you look up a pyramid scheme, that's the shape that it uses. It's pyramid. They have them pyramids back in the East too. Well, the dashing felon. I think you got a good. Nice to see you, sir. I don't think we've ever shared the same space before. I'm glad that you are here, the dashing felon. I've spent quite a bit of time with felons, and I got nothing against them. Some of them felons have some of the best ideas I've ever heard. So you too, sir. Hey, Glitch Dash, you bastard, you climbing in on my thing here. Well, I'm gonna let you. So the real reason Mr. Flex and Bobby and whoever that guy was, the real reason that they're so concerned about whether Mr. Flex, who has that Cobb tune and fancy car and the mailbox and the phone that drives around all day looking at a dashboard, the reason they're so concerned about all of that is that's an economic signal to you. If Mr. Flex, who everybody knows Mr. Flex is one of those people at the top of the pyramid, right? The thing that's shaped like a triangle. Mr. Flex is up here. Mr. Flex was up there. Now, when you start seeing the guy at the top of the pyramid get a day job, you might just be getting worried about your gang leader, shouldn't you? You might just be worried about your gang leader if your gang leader's taking the side hustles. Because the side hustle's supposed to be the job, not the side hustle. You got that by now, right? This ain't no side hustle for Mike's Money Plans and the Kim Drives Fast and the Zach's Thirsty. This ain't... This is business, son. This is business. This is big business. You think the Harry Campbell's taking time out to be first in the chat for the interview of the Mike's Money Plans and say, I'm a-watching you. Here's Harry Campbell. I'm a-watching you. Well, why is a Harry Campbell a-watching you? Harry Campbell don't a-watching you all the time. Harry Campbell's got oligarch things to do. Harry Campbell's got the oligarch thing to do. He got yachts to go on. He got hoes to chase. He's got all kinds of stuff going on that's better than you. He's got all kinds of stuff going on better than you, better than me, for certainly better than me. What the fuck is going on here? Exactly, Nick Dizzle. Exactly, Nick Dizzle. You a smart person. That's the first thing we should all ask ourselves. That's numero uno. We should ask ourselves, what the fuck is going on here? Well, you getting scammed is what's going on here. You getting enslaved is what's going on here. They invented artificial intelligence to enslave you. Look, the corporate world invented artificial intelligence. What do you think their motive is? They tell you every single day it's shareholder value. What part of that do you not understand? Shareholder value. That means whether you're dead or alive is according to shareholder value. Your life, in their mind, matters based upon shareholder value. Let's soak that in for a minute, shall we? I'm going to sit here quietly. We can be thinking about shareholder value. You know what your shareholder value is? It's a big old fucking donut. Big old fucking donut. That's your shareholder value. Now, if you got a zero shareholder value and they got all the money supply, like Stephen Arrow said, you got a zero value and they got all the money supply, you know what you are? You fucked. You're fucked. You're sitting at the Monopoly game with a stack of Cheetos. You sitting in a Monopoly game playing with a stack of Cheetos. You ain't even in the game. You ain't even in the game. You sitting on the sidelines. They're not listening to you. They're not looking to you. They got all the Cheetos they need. They don't need your Cheetos. You don't have any of their money. But this is what's going on here. You guys think this is about Glitchgate? You think this is about Pedro? No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Never. Look. I would not be wasting my time here in the gig economy as an economist and as a scholar and as a writer if this was about Pedro. Pedro ain't that interesting. St. Louis is just one of many big cities in this United States. You see, St. Louis ain't special. Los Angeles ain't special. New York ain't special. There's nowhere that's special. Pedro ain't special. I ain't special. That Thomas Glitch Dash Schubeck's special, that bastard. He's a real leader right there. I like that guy. I do. Yeah, they mopped up all the cash. Well, see, people might not understand what you're saying there, Stephen Arrow, when you say they mopped up all the extra cash and are burning it. People would say, well, that doesn't make sense, Stephen Arrow. Well, yes, it does. Yes, it does. It makes sense for the same reason that DoorDash doesn't show a corporate profit. Because they can print all the money they want. They got a money tree. They got a money printer. They can print all the money they want, which means they can waste all the money they want. Hello, Sinful Toaster, you bastard appliance. you microwave molesting son of a gun. I will never forgive you for my microwave's PTSD, sir. I will never ever forgive you for the PTSD that my microwave's carrying around in its transistors. Cha-ching. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We all making money here. We making money hand over fist. I got me more Cheetos. I got me more moldy Cheetos than you can believe. I got me the moldy Cheetos. That's my wealth. It's moldy Cheetos. See, here's the deal. You might wonder, like, this Jeff Thomas Black guy said he don't care about the money. Is he stupid in the head? Well, yeah, I'm pretty stupid in the head. There's lots of people that accuse me of being stupid in the head. I'm pretty stupid in the head. I'm a stubborn old son of a bitch. Look at me. I'm ugly, too. See? Now, I may be stupid in the head and I may be old, but see, their money got no value to me, see? Because I understand it a little bit better than you do. Their money system is not a game I can play. I need their permission to have a job. I need their permission to have a bank account. I need their permission to have a cell phone. I need their permission to do everything. What do I not need their permission for? I need their permission to go to school. I need their permission to go to the bathroom. I need their permission to have my what's left of food stamps, which is like called a SNAP card or something. It's called a, there's no social safety net anymore. So they got us where we need their permission to do anything. Hell, we need their permission to be a gig worker. They can just turn off they can just decapitate us right off the DoorDash platform. They can just decapitate us and cut us off at the knees. Well, we don't need, you gotta see, there you go, Glitch Dash, you bastard. You all being smarter again. You all being smarter than the people exploiting you, and that's what you're gonna have to do. That's why you gotta be awake. That's why me, Jeff Thomas Black, has been spending about the last 3.5 years in this gig economy with you. Not because it's a good time. It's not a good time. It's not a good time. Pedro's bored. You see how bored Pedro is? Pedro's like, oh, I'm so bored. I'm so bored. I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. I'm so bored with the gig economy. Holy shit. Gonna break the phone. I'm so bored. Gonna get too close to the phone. I'm so bored. You see? Pedro's bored out of his fucking mind. You know why? Because Pedro was never interested in the gig economy. Pedro's an entertainer. Pedro's a cult leader with bad gambling advice who wants you to be watching him. Look, Dashing Felon, you getting way ahead of the game here with the union dues. Ain't no union dues to be a human being. You being silly there, Dashing Felon. You been on the inside too long. You're thinking wrong in your head. There ain't no union dues to being a human being. That's the game they play. That's the game they play with the unions that existed before us, right? Based upon money. And whose money is it? Not yours. See, that's the problem you got there, Dashing Felon. You're thinking like a felon. You're thinking like a felon because you are owned by the state, and I know that. And you are a slave, sir. You've been a slave and you are a slave, and I'm very sorry for that. I've been a slave myself before, and it's not a good time. I understand that. But you got to stop thinking like a slave. Everybody got to stop thinking like the slave. Yes, Wild Alaska, you know this. You know you can't think like a slave. You work with the folks on the inside, Wild Alaska. You work with folks who've thrown their life away for either good or bad reasons. It's not a good thing. We got a lot of empathy. So those of us that have been on the insides of the jails and the prisons in any capacity got a lot of empathy for our fellow men and women inside those walls, because that's not how humans are supposed to be treated. Even if let's say they're a mass murderer. They're a mass murderer. Well, those mass murderers should not be treated like the innocent, by definition, people sitting in your county jail waiting for a trial. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir, Glitch Dash. Because labor is all we are. You understand? We're our own labor. That's the only thing we got. Only thing we got is we get up in the morning and we decide if we want to be a slave or if we want to be free. See, I get up every morning being free. I don't have no money. I don't have any money from their system, you see. So they can't control me. They can whack me. They can get rid of old Dad Dash. They can get rid of old Dad Dash, but guess what? The book's already written. Ain't gonna do them no good to get rid of Dad Dash. The book's already written, son. Not gonna do them any good. They look. I told you on the first day, scams end. They implode badly. FTX, badly. Enron, badly. DoorDash, badly. Now, DoorDash is one of just many, many, many corporate scams, right? You got the Uber, you got the Lyft, you got corporate scams in the other countries. You got this. Look, what is DoorDash? DoorDash already told you they're a technology company. They're a technology company. They own technology. They don't have any employees other than the people that build that technology. They don't know you. They don't think about you. You do not exist. You are not on their financial statement if you are a Dasher. You do not exist. You exist only in so much as you are a pool of an expense. Now, that expense could also be a robot. It could be a dog. It could be a pig with a Happy Meal strapped on its back. You understand? You understand there's no difference between you and a robot and a pig with a Happy Meal strapped on its back? Which one you want to be? It doesn't make any difference. You delivering a Happy Meal, you could be a robot, a dog, or a pig with a Happy Meal strapped on its back. You're all the same. You do not exist. You do not exist to DoorDash. You understand me? DoorDash ain't going to bargain with you. They're not going to collectively bargain with you because you don't exist. They defined that, right? They defined that in their user agreement is since you don't exist and we don't know you, you can't do collective bargaining and you can't do any kind of employment action. Well, but they don't make those rules, do they? Just because they gave you a falsified highfalutin terms of agreement doesn't mean it's correct and doesn't mean it's defensible and doesn't mean it's true. They've been fleecing you, right? I mean, Brian DoorDash Sucks says this. They owe you billions of dollars with a B. Let me make sure I enunciate that again. That corporate thruple up there, the DoorDash and the Uber and the Lyft, they owe you billions of dollars with a B. Now, the problem is those are their dollars and it's their economy and their politicians and their everything. So they may never give you that. They may never give you those billions that they owe you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. See, what's going to happen when people like the Glitch Dash, that bastard Thomas Schubeck, get going, is they're going to convince people, just like we're hearing over in the Necro Lounge, they're going to convince people that whether it's a W-2 job or a gig economy job, that we shouldn't be selling our labor. We should not be selling ourselves into slavery. If somebody's going to ask us to show up for a work week of anywhere between 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, well, what if it's even an hour? If somebody wants me to show up for an hour, you know what they're going to have to do, Glitch Dash? Why don't you tell the people, Glitch Dash, what people are going to have to do if they want me to show up for 1 hour of labor? What are they going to have to do? Glitch Dash is going to tell you. I'm just going to wait right here. Ooh, the air is so fresh this morning. Pay up. That's right, sir. Pay up. What does pay up mean? That means they got to pay all the loaded costs of employment. If you ever employed somebody before as an in business or as in a real independent contractor where you had employees, you'd have to know that there's a loaded cost of employment. It's not just, if you're paying somebody $15 an hour, it doesn't just cost you $15 an hour. You got to pay the payroll taxes. You got to pay the state and local taxes. You got to cover for some amount of OSHA, whatever, depending upon when your job is. So there's what's called a loaded cost of employment. So any given employee, if you hire them for $10 an hour, might actually cost you as a business $15, $16, $17 an hour to employ. Now, they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that because when they kick you out of that job category into the gig economy or the dashing category, they want to take that $7 back and put it in their pocket, and they want to just give you the 10. They just want to give you the 10 that's left over and say, well, congratulations, you're an independent contractor. Well, dashing felon, I don't think he was trying to give you any type of nonsensical input. The life of a felon is very complex, and we can talk about that later, dashing felon. I know that there's things that you can get off your criminal record or that stay on, and there's parole, there's all kinds of things. And so we appreciate you representing that important group of humanity who's been treated unfairly regardless of what they did. So I appreciate you, dashing felon. Let's get into the we don't have to call people nonsensical. Let's get into the details of felonies and what we're allowed to do as a felon or not to do as a felon later. I ain't no felon. I've got no criminal convictions, but I very much dislike the fact that as a felon you are tracked around at any level. If you have done your time in service of what you've done, you should be a free person. It means living wage, health care, retirement plans, stock option bonuses, annual raises to keep up with the cost of living, 6 weeks, year paid time off, and legally sanctioned breaks. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It means being treated like a human being again, right? You think old Harry Campbell goes around working 80 hours a week and not having time to sleep and not feeding his family? Oh, no, sir. Harry Campbell's sitting there waiting and watching you. Harry Campbell's having a comfortable life. Well, that makes sense why his info is out there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, dashing felon. This is such a complex category. Look, I mean, we could talk about just felons allowing to be felons being housed. That's a category in and of itself. Even if they have the money, will they be allowed to get housing? This is a terrible, terrible thing that we're living through. So let's get back though out of the felonies, because most of us aren't facing the situation of felonies, unfortunately. Let's get back to the employment. So if a loaded cost of employment, all those things that Glitch Dash Thomas Schubeck's talking about, living wages, healthcare, retirement plans, stock options, annual raises to keep up with the cost of living, 6 weeks paid time off, and legally sanctioned breaks. Now, there's a lot of countries that mandate that for all workers, regardless of who they are. So your politicians sold you right down the river. That's one thing you have to know. There is no politician that will ever save you from the gig economy. They sold you down the river. They're in taking on it. They're in the take on it. They know it's a fraud. They know DoorDash is a fraud. Look, most of them probably knew the housing crisis and Enron and FTX were frauds too, but they were probably making money off it in that time and day. So, well, looks like old Dad Dash got to move around. We got a little few visitors over here, so we're just gonna move ourselves around. So, woo! Let's find some level ground for Dad Dash. Dad Dash ain't drunk. He just looks like it. Just looks like it. Oh, let's see here. Did same thing as Rome. Yes, sir. Well, if you're talking about Rome, you're talking about a failed empire, and that's what the United States is today. The United States is a failed and failing and crashing empire. And so is our monetary system. And so those people in power, even if, let's say at one time, those people in power at one time cared whether you lived or died, now they don't. Now they're too worried about themselves living or dying. They don't care about you anymore. They gave that up. Pretty scary, isn't it? Yeah, dashing felon, I think you're taking this a little more personally than intended, and that's reasonable because you actually are a dashing felon. I think you're taking this personally, and I don't think it's intended personally. I think this is more some general commentary about the difficult situation that felons find themselves in. And I think there's a lot of people here with empathy for you. So I understand, sir, that you seem to be perturbed about this, and that makes sense to me because you know a lot more about it than I do or anybody else does. So thank you, dashing felon. Maybe sometime Glitch Dash or even myself can have you on and you can talk about what life is like after you're living with a felony that for you is apparently discharged, which I'm glad for you. So we can talk about that sometime, sir. I appreciate you being here, and I have great respect for you as a human being, same as any other human being. Okay, well, that's not what I'm reading, sir. I understand he's talking to you, but I'm talking to you right now. So let's stay on the subject, shall we? This ain't a debate between you and somebody else. This is me talking to you, okay? So can we stick with the subject just for a moment? I appreciate your indulgence on that, even if you're personally insulted at the moment. So, yeah, Sinful Toaster says there's a difference between legal and lawful. I understand. I might be a good idea to collaborate for an expose. I think it would. I think it would, Glitch Dash, because one of the things I should be all reconnected for you folks. I apologize for that. Need to move around for a minute. All right. So, who's going to meet us? Who's going to be with us here in this sewer that we work in of the gig economy? Well, I'll tell you who's going to be here in this sewer. People that committed crimes before, people that have been homeless, people that are long-term unemployed, people that are old, like Dad Dash here. Yeah, JTB was a glitching. JTB was a glitching. We ain't a bitching, but JTB is a glitching. So these are terribly serious subjects, you see. This is why when you go to the cartoon show of, let's say, the Cherry Channel. Yes, sir, Stephen Arrow, we are all friends here, and thank you for your heartfelt apology. I do hope that it's accepted. What I'm telling you, let me tell you a little bit about being in jail. So I was in jail for what I call good trouble, what most people call good trouble. It's civil disobedience. It's standing in the face of authority and allowing them to arrest you. And I don't even remember how many times I've been, hey, Mike McCormick, you are very kind, sir. DoorDash Rick, it's nice to see you. So when I went to jail, and I was in the maximum security block with the killers and the felons and the people going to federal prison and all that. And so there was, you can read about it. I wrote a story about that. You can just look up Jeff Thomas Black on the internet, and you'll find my story of being in jail. I think it's called A Little Bit of Slavery. It's just a little bit of slavery. And so I tell you stories about that. But what was the point of talking about the jail here? It was, let's see. Yeah, civil disobedience. Thank you. So civil disobedience, yes. Now I remember. So you get into the jail there and you learn things. You learn things because they let you out of solitary confinement, which I was in for somewhere between 1 and 3 hours per day in either 1 or 2 walks, depending upon what the situation is. That's not a lot of time out of a silent, there's no electronics, there's no TV, there's no radio. You just sitting in a silent cell 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if and until they let you out to either get some medication or grab your food and take it back and eat it in your cell. You even eat in your cell. You don't get out of your cell. And if they're short-staffed, which they often are, because they have to have 2 guards in there to have a walk, if they're short-staffed, you don't get your walk. Or if somebody gets in a fight and they lock the place down, you don't get your walk. People go crazy. And everybody's starving, too. They feed you a starvation diet. So you want to see a bunch of people go crazy, starve them. They'll go crazy. So you're being tortured inside there is what Dad Dash is saying here. You're being tortured. Now, here's the thing. Dad Dash was a little popular inside the jail. You know why? Because they knew. They'd seen me on TV getting arrested, getting my head smashed into a marble floor. So I came in there and they're like, hey, we want to talk to you. And I said, well, hey, I want to talk to you too. So I had a great time in jail. I really did. I enjoyed it. I'm not saying it was easy, because it was not easy. It was very difficult. I was in solitary confinement for 20 days. That was not easy, but I enjoyed it. And it's one of the most valuable experiences of my life. I went there because I wanted to learn. Yeah, see, they should not have put me in jail because I was going to learn something. They shouldn't have put old Dad Dash in jail because I wanted to go to jail, you see. I made the choice to go to jail. I sat down with my adult kids and I said, look, I'm going to be going to jail and this is what's going to happen. You see, I'm writing this story. They're not writing this story. These fools, these opposition research types that wanted to take me down when I started sticking up for you and writing about you, well, they were doing opposition research with my own videos of me getting arrested and of my civil rights work. Well, that's kind of interesting, right? I don't have no skeletons. I've been a public guy for a very long time. I've been writing about this for a very long time. The FBI has taken my cell phone and searched it for a very long time. If there was any interesting thing on me, you'd know it. You'd know it, because a lot more interesting people than always cherry pick and Real Talk with Roy and Harry Campbell been looking into my past. I've been around for a while. Segregation. So this is a man that knows. This is my friend Wild Alaska here. my friend Wild Alaska here is actually a corrections officer in Alaska, and to my understanding, he works for one of the many native organizations up there that provides the public service, because there ain't no government that's providing the public service. No, these are the native communities. These are the boroughs that are providing their own. Well, I guess they're a local government, but they're providing these services because there are no other services. There are no other services. So right now in Wild Alaska's had a number of different jobs in law enforcement and corrections, and he's tremendously interesting and I believe a very good fellow from my understanding, and I hope to meet him in person someday. But he says right here, segregation makes people nuts after an extended period of time. Yes, it does, even after a short period of time. So if you want to, our resident PhD sociologist, Dad-13, Steve Askin, or whatever this man's name is, he claims to know human behavior. Okay. I ain't never seen his credentials. I've never seen his credentials personally. Yes, lack of food makes people crazy, lack of sunlight, lack of movement, lack of sound, lack of social connection. So these are the worst possible conditions. So listen, when I would take a walk around the cell block, when my lower tier was out and the upper tier, of course, was locked in, because they never let all of us out at the same time. The most they ever let out at one time is one tier. But when you do that, you look in the windows of these folks on the top tier, or they're looking out the window at you, tapping on it, asking you what day it is and what time it is, and they're crazy. Now, when I say crazy, I don't mean I'm not slandering them. They are literally out of their mind. You can see the terror and the fear in their eyes. They are starved. They are alone. They are not getting justice. Now, 74%, this is a real statistic, 74% of those people sitting in those county jails have not yet been convicted of the crime for which they are jailed. 74%. So a lot of them were like me. They were innocent people until proven guilty. I never was proven guilty. So I was innocent and I stayed innocent. I still spent 20 days in solitary confinement. You going to give me those 20 days of my life back? No, you are not. You are not. That's fine. I don't need them back. I was just fine. I did just fine. I talked to a lot of prisoners. Now I'm going to come back to this little point of the story here, Glitch-Thomas Schubeck, you bastard. The point is, I was sitting there talking to one of my friends. He happened to be a black man. Well, despite the population of Oregon being mighty white, inside that jail, it's mostly black and Hispanic people, and maybe a few real lower class white people. And then, well, there was me, and you can call me whatever you want. So the demographics of the inside of the jail is not the demographics that you're going to get on the street in Portland. No, sir. No, ma'am. It is nothing. Yes, those are terms of endearment, sir. You are correct, Stephen Nero. That population on the inside, as you will see in my story that I wrote for you called It's Just a Little Bit of Slavery, you can just put that in with Jeff Thomas Black and you can read that for yourself. I think even the app will read that to you if I'm not incorrect. I've never done the audiobook, but I believe now with the artificial intelligence, it'll just read that article right to you for me. What a wonderful thing that is. Don't have to read for yourself anymore. But this gentleman told me, yeah, that's what's so ass backwards. County jail's miserable and everything, and you haven't even been convicted yet. Yes, sir, dashing felon. This is why I like you so much. You understand the system. Wild Alaska, my friend Cody, understands the system. But prison is plush unless you're in the hole after conviction. So weird. Well, here's the thing, dashing felon, right? They don't have the mechanism nor the need to torture people forever. They want to torture people while they're waiting to see if they get a fair trial or not. Because when you torture people while they're waiting for a fair trial, they tend to do something like plea bargain. They tend to bag out of the system and go, just stop torturing me. Just put me someplace where I can be a federal prisoner and be a professional prisoner. I can have time during the day. I can go hang out with my friends. I can lift weights. I can get a job. I can talk to my family on the phone. Now, see, they make county jail living hell. Living hell. Somebody say a hallelujah in there. Oh, Snake River Correctional Institution, my good friend Wild Alaska. Now, that's here in Oregon. during my school years. Yard full of sex offenders, entirely different experience. Yes, sir. Well, so Snake River Correctional Institution is one of those way stops. Snake River Correctional Institution is where they process people between the county jails and the state prisons, where they're going to be professional prisoners for a very, very long time. At the Club Fed. Yes, sir. Now, Snake, I would say Snake River, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Wild Alaska, but I'd say Snake River's about some of the worst of it all, because those people are in transition. They know they're fucked, but they don't know how fucked yet. Whoops, Dad Dash gonna fall down the stairs talking to you on the phone. That would be funny. Dad Dash will just die online for you. Goodbye, world. I'm gonna go in the bad spot. Dad Dash try not to fall down the stairs again. Get Nancy. Okay, what are we doing here? All right, so we're gonna go back to some jail talk, because this is again. Now Torp's gonna get me. My buddy Torp's gonna get me. I love that, man. Hello, Torp, sir. Torp's gonna get me because we're now hitting 41 minutes and 21 seconds, and I ain't got to the point yet. But I'm gonna get to it for you, Torp. Somebody tell Torp that he can tune in at 41 minutes, and Jeff Thomas Black gonna get to a point. So the point is, this gentleman that I was playing chess with, this black man, told me, well, he told me we might be in different gangs on the outside. We might be enemies on the outside. We might hate each other on the outside. In here, all beefs are off. You can confirm this for me, Wild Alaska. You can confirm this for me, Dashing Felon, if you found this to be true. So I went into the belly of the beast to learn this. All those beefs from the outside world don't count, because on the inside, the inmates are all we got. All we got is each other. There's nobody here for you. You dead. You're a slave. You have no human rights. If you get appendicitis, you're going to die in your cell overnight. They ain't going to come believe you. They are not going to come to believe you. 2 hours to the point. Bigfoot Dasher, I love you. You are a beautiful person. Bigfoot Dasher, everybody go right now. You can just, hey buddy, hey Dash and Simp, you just go right now and you just subscribe to my friend the Bigfoot Dasher, please. You go subscribe to my friend the Bigfoot Dasher. And Thomas Schubeck, you bastard, you gotta get you on the Bigfoot Dasher. You gotta get you on the Bigfoot Dasher, because these are nice people. These are good people. These are the good people. Yep. Street beefs don't hit prison. You're right, but there's a whole new set of rules. Yes, sir, there's a whole new set of rules, but there's a whole new set of rules. Street beefs don't work, because you know who runs the prisons and the jails? It's the prisoners. The guards are just there to keep themselves from being killed, and to make sure that, you know, people getting in and out of their cells on time. If somebody wants you dead in prison, you're going to be dead. You're going to be very dead. You're going to be dead. I don't want to be dead. Well, nobody hurt me in prison. People were afraid that I was going to get hurt when I was in jail. But you know what? I was a real popular guy, because they had their rights abused. And as my friend Wild Alaska said, you know, plea bargains are a result of either a weak case for the state to prove, so they scare you into plea, or it's simply because of a backlog case that need to be cleared. Well, yes, sir. So Oregon's got a problem here, my friend Wild Alaska, is we don't have enough public defenders. So even if you get this court-appointed attorney to you, you're going to sit your ass in jail, and you ain't going to be able to get your court-appointed attorney even on the phone. You can't even get him on the phone. And now you can do public pretenders. Yes, some of them are okay, some of them are not. There's not enough of them. So you're sitting there cooling your jets in jail, right? You're missing your kid's birthday. You're missing your anniversary. Your wife's going to divorce you. You're afraid. Everything's going sideways. And you got these charges pending. They're trying to ruin your life. Maybe they're felony, maybe they're misdemeanor. Doesn't matter. Even misdemeanor is going to get you locked up in jail. Yeah, if you PC up, they will send a torpedo for you. That's not a torp. That's different than a torpedo. It's not the torp we know, thank heavens. If that guy came after me with them scrawny legs and them pretty arms, I'd be scared. That boy'd run me down, I'm afraid. That boy'd run me down. That torp looks like a fast motherfucker. Excuse Dad Dash for my language. I should not be salty with you. Oh, AZ Prod, AZ Prod. We're talking about how we might survive as a community. If you PC up, they'll send a torpedo for you, meaning another inmate pretending to need protection, find you and stick you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Woo-wee. You don't want to be in the custody of the state. You do not. And Dad, look, this old man you're looking at, I retired from getting arrested. I'm too big boned. I'm too big boned for their handcuffs. And I do not like, I've been arrested so many times. So many times. I'm not even positive. I think it's 9. I think it's 9, but I'm not positive. Could be 8, could be 10, could be 11. I'm not sure. Anyway, but I never resisted, so I'm still alive. See, if you resist, you get yourself dead. If you resist, you end up dead real fast. They'll help you be dead faster than you can spin your head. So you just smile and you put your hands out and you say, "Please take me to jail, sir." And they will. Yeah, better not to get involved. Yeah, right. Well, get involved, right? I mean, I got involved because I wanted to be involved, right? I was going to prove a point with my civil rights, which is what people that care about civil rights have to do. We got to prove our point because they ain't going to make our point for us. We got to make our point for ourselves. But there's only one reason I'm sitting here talking to you today. It's that I make my point by putting my body on the line. Otherwise, you wouldn't and shouldn't trust me. There's a reason that bastard Glitch Thomas Schubeck might trust me. And that's because I've been spending a lot of time trying to be trustworthy. That man was watching my work before you were. And so I think Thomas Schubeck maybe figured out that I was somebody he decided to trust. And I don't take that trust lightly. That means a lot to me. So again, but he's part of your community. See, and I'm part of your community, but I'm just one guy. And maybe I have a different role in the community. It doesn't matter. I'm still just one guy. I mean, if I was gone today, my book could still exist. Doesn't matter, right? I mean, they ain't gonna get rid of the information. They can just get rid of me. They can get rid of Thomas Schubeck too, and gonna get rid of all the work he's done. So all the beefs. Let's go back to that point for Torp. And Torp only got to watch from 4130 to 50. All those beefs on the outside of the world go away because on the inside, you're all you got. Well, the analogy here would be all those beef with the Republicans and the Democrats and the independents and the libertarians and the Freedom Party and everybody else is going to tell you they got money in the system that's going to help you. They're lying. I wish they weren't. I wish they weren't. I've been a lifelong voter. Don't matter anymore. It just don't matter. I wish it did. I'm not telling you not to vote. I mean, you could have state and local elections. You could have some kind of, elections are elections, and you should vote. You should get your voice heard. Not going to save you from slavery, because slavery already started. You're already in it. You were the first and best victim. You were the first and best victim of DoorDash. Let's talk about that again. So DoorDash is a technology company. What if DoorDash went away today? What if, poof, DoorDash delivered no more Happy Meals? Well, they still have the technology. I could sell my technology from DoorDash to the country of Jeffistan. If there was a country named Jeffistan, I could sell my DoorDash Dasher technology and system, the consumer, the app slave, and the merchant. I could sell that merchant, app slave, consumer, three-sided fake rigged marketplace. I could sell that three-sided rigged marketplace to Jeffistan. And as the emperor of Jeffistan, I could enslave everybody in my country. I'd just give them each a cell phone. I'd say, if I don't find that cell phone on your person, I'm going to decapitate you. I'm just going to kick you right off my platform, and I'm going to decapitate you. And you've been decapitated. Somebody tell me they don't know that this could happen. Well, so here's the thing. Climate focused. So you say Dash and Felon, the left is too climate focused, the right is too this focused, the left is too. They're all focused on the same thing. That's an enslaving you. This is all a game. They're playing a game above our heads. We are not in their game. Are they playing the game for real? Is it a real game or not? Doesn't matter. I don't care. Do they really hate each other? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, probably not. I mean, I see the Nancy Pelosi and the Mitch McConnell doing the elbow bump. What am I supposed to think? What? They're like the Looney Tunes cartoon with the wolf and the sheepdog, and then they punch the clock and go, "Good night, Sam. Good night, Ralph." And then Sam and Ralph are gone, and good night, Sam, good night, Ralph. And then they go home and they drink, then they with their lunch pails, and they have a good time because they're really friends in the real world. But then they pretend to want to kill each other during their day job. Well, that's probably it, Stephen Arrow. Stephen Arrow says exactly, not real. Well, that's what I'm telling you. And so let me ask you this. Let's tie it back to our glitch dash economy here. If the government, who's playing war games to profit off you and starving you out and putting people all over your streets and shutting down your institutions and eliminating your social safety nets and watching you die and then telling you there's plenty of jobs, you tell me. I mean, come on, you're the audience. You're the audience they're lying to. Is there plenty of good jobs where you're going to feed your family? Hell no, because if there was plenty of jobs for you to feed your family, I wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be here. None of us would be here. We'd all be working at those jobs, and we'd be coming home and we'd be having a glass of wine at 5 o'clock with our significant other, and we'd be bumping elbows with our neighbors and saying, "How you doing, neighbor?" They'd be going, "How you doing, neighbor?" We'd go, "We good. How you doing?" "We good." Because we'd all be having our needs met. We'd be feeding our kids and putting roofs over our houses, and we wouldn't have to be going downtown to the store and seeing people dying on the street corner, and nobody cares. You think that's a healthy society? Who's selling you that? Who's selling you that? I want to know what motherfucker's selling you that society where you're supposed to step over dying people on the sidewalk. What's the difference between stepping over dying people on the sidewalk and having a war in your town where you're stepping over dead bodies on the sidewalk that are leaking out their bodily fluids like they do in Ukraine and Russia? They're just leaking out bodily fluids, a little head over here, little arm over there, little torso over there, just leaking out their body fluids onto the street just like a human being. And you just step over them to go shopping. You just step over them to go shopping. You just lift up your leg, you step right over the dead body. What's the difference between that and stepping over a homeless person who's dying on the street? I don't see any difference. Maybe you do, I don't. 40% of the population don't have a job. That's right, Stephen Arrow. So how come these economists, so I'm a real economist, just like I'm the real Dad Dash, I'm a real economist. How come these fake economists online, Stephen Arrow, telling you all these jobs and all these great employment statistics? How come they're telling you lies that don't apply in your hometown? Gee, that sounds a lot like DoorDash, doesn't it? Sounds a whole hell of a lot like DoorDash, that they're on there telling you lies that don't apply in your hometown. Well, if you lived in St. Louis, you'd be having a great life right now. Well, I don't live in St. Louis. Well, if you lived in Las Vegas, you'd be a swinging and a dancing and having a great time right now. Well, I don't live in Las Vegas. Yeah, let's talk about them illegal immigrants. What's an illegal human being? I don't see no illegal human. I've never seen an illegal human being in my life. Never seen one. I think that's a motherfucker's lying to you. See, I got an article out here. I got an article out there under Jeff Thomas Black. You can read this one too. It's called Borders, the Tools of Evil Men. Yeah, why do you think I titled it that? Because borders are the tools of evil men. Borders are just an excuse to fleece you and tax you and make you go kill somebody else you got no problem with. I've got no problem with Russians. I went to Duke with Russians. I went to undergrad with Russians. I had neighbors that were Russians. Hell, I even dated the Russians. I've been in love with the Russians. I ain't fighting no Russians. You go fight the Russians by yourself. I ain't no Russian warrior. I ain't out to kill any Russians. I don't got any problem with Ukrainians either. So you're just going to have to keep me out of your war. I'm not interested. I am not interested in your killing and a warring and a turning people into piles of bodily fluids. Now, somebody wants to convince you yes, borders are very imaginary. In fact, my friend Briggs, I once wrote about the absolute fact. See, I've been writing for a long time. Long time. I wrote about the fact that you go on the Google Maps and the Google Maps don't match the borders. So which is the real border? How do you know? How are you going to put your finger on the border between Mexico and the United States? You can't. You can't. They put up a little fence every once in a while. You think that fence was to keep people in and out? No, it was to convince you that a border's real. Think about it. Think about it. I'm going to blow your mind right now. All them fences, not to keep people out. You can go under fences, you can go around fences, and you can go over fences. There's 3 ways to get past a fence. You can go through a fence. Let's call that 4 ways. You go 4 ways around a fence. 4 ways around a fence, over a fence. Hell, you can even hop in the ocean. You can just go around the landmass altogether. So why they put up these fences? Why does some crazy ass dictator want to convince you that there should be a fence somewhere? Well, a fence is just a physical reminder that they own you. The fence is a physical reminder, not just that Mexican people or the Canadian people can't come into the United States of America. That fence is a physical reminder that you can't leave. You can't leave. You realize that? Remember when Americans used to go, I can just go anywhere in the world, and the Russians can't come here, and the Chinese can't come here. We're not going to let the Mexicans in, and we're not going to do this, and we're not going to do that, because we're America. We're exceptional. Yeah, who wants you now? Who wants you now? Raise your hand if you want to get out of America, and you don't know. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants you. You're a slave. You don't have value. You're not an American citizen. You don't carry no wealth with you. Neither do I. You got to carry wealth. You think some Nordic country wants your broke ass? You think some Nordic country wants your broke ass? No, they don't. Mexico doesn't even want your broke ass. So every time they put up a wall to tell you they're keeping people out, they're putting up the wall to keep you in. Everything they're telling you, you just pretend it's like an opposite day. You just pretend it's an opposite day. When they tell you there's jobs, that means there's no jobs. When they tell you they're putting in a wall to keep people out, they're putting in the wall to keep you in. When they tell you the gig economy is the future, the gig economy is your slavery. The gig economy is your death. The death of you, the death of your children, the death of the human race. That's what the gig economy is. Why did they want to smear Jeff Thomas Black? Why did they want to lie to you and tell you there ain't no book and I ain't no writer? Well, you fucking take a guess now. Now that you know me a little bit, now that you know me a little bit better, you might want to look up the rest of my work online. You might want to look at how long I've been doing this. You might want to look at where I've been and what I've been saying, because I've been telling you this for a number of years. I didn't just make this up today. This is part of a long-term plan. This is part of my life's work. This is part of my life's work. I'm an old man. I might be dead soon. You never know. You never know. I ain't even worried about it. I don't care. I don't care. You think I care? You actually think I care? Because I don't. Look deeply into my eyes like Pedro. I don't care. Because there's more important stuff than me. I'm a father. I got 2 grown kids, see? I got 2 grown kids. I don't give a fuck. You want to ruin the life and the future for my 2 grown kids? You're going to have to come through me. You better make sure I'm dead first. You better make sure I'm dead first. You better make sure I'm dead first. That's my advice for you. Because I'm not going to stop. There is no stopping. When is this going to be over? People like to ask the Thomas Glitch Dash Schubeck, that bastard. They're like, when is this over? When are you going to stop talking about this? Yeah, the answer is never. The answer is fucking never. Never. DoorDash is over. Can we replace DoorDash with something in a day? Yes, we could, obviously. This ain't no dispatch system. This is just a system enslaving you. If DoorDash disappeared today, the world would be a better place. None of us would miss a step. There would never be a Happy Meal undelivered. We'd still get along just fine. You don't think McDonald's could start paying you a fair wage to deliver Happy Meals? Come on now. You think you need an intermediary to chew all your world up in artificial intelligence and tell you where to take a Happy Meal? I don't believe you. I do not believe that any of you are that gullible anymore. I think you got lied to like I did. I think you fell for a scam for a while, but you ain't falling for it forever. We're still here. You know who's still here? I'm still here. Glitch Dash is that bastard is still here. Brian DoorDash Sucks is still here. We're all still here. Sinful Toaster's still here. Luciano, glad you're here. I cannot read difference of the enter of the black a. Okay, so I can't read that language, but I do know enough to say that color. I think our friend Luciano is telling us that color might be the difference between who they let in our nation or not, or in other nations or not. And I think our friend Luciano is a smart person. That's probably true, or that's certainly true. What a difference a few months would make. Well, that's it. All right, so that's why I told you I am a bold individual. There's no doubt about that. I'm an asshole. I'm a bold individual. There's lots of people that don't like me because I speak too much truth. If you don't like me, you got a big club to join. You can join the big I Hate Jeff Thomas Black Club, and I hope you send me a T-shirt. I hope you do, because I need that T-shirt. Bigfoot Dasher hates me. Yeah, that's right. No, Bigfoot Dasher don't hate me. Bigfoot Dasher's salt of the earth. Bigfoot Dasher's one of my favorite accounts. And Bigfoot Dasher had some good music a couple days ago. You all should log in and watch Bigfoot Dasher at the music festival. Now that's a good time. That's what life's about. Life ain't about hauling Happy Meals and hot dogs around for some freaking slave driving bastards named Tony Shu, Andy Fang, Stanley Tang, BlackRock, Saudi Arabia, SoftBank. Holy shit. If I wanted to be a slave for somebody, I would not be a slave for them. I'd rather be a slave for Glitch Dash. I'd come to Thomas Schubeck. I go, hey, you bastard Thomas Schubeck, Glitch Dash, can I be a slave for you? I'd be happy to be a slave for Thomas Schubeck. At least he's a nice guy. What the fuck BlackRock ever going to do for me other than kill my kids and make sure I don't have any grandchildren? BlackRock ain't my friend. BlackRock ain't your friend. They don't recognize borders. That's right. That's right. And so in that article I told you about Sinful Toaster, Borders, the Tools of Evil Men that Jeff Thomas Black wrote, I don't know, 4 years ago somewhere. I told you that. I said, they don't care about you. The elite don't recognize the borders. They're flying around playing basketball in Egypt. They're flying around having weddings in the south of France. They're flying around visiting war zones when their war's not on, and enjoying the vacation, and they fly out and they'll start the war again. That's right. Exit the system. Oh, sir, Briggs, you got it. Well, see, that's probably what happened to old Jeff Thomas Black, right? I exited the system. They want a lot of things from me, and none of them good. The whole world wants a lot of things for me, and none of them good. So how do I deal with that? Well, I don't. I just cut them out of my life like a bad person. Well, Metal Mike, I had to move myself. I had to move myself to a new location because there were some people that wanted to talk about where Dad Dash's kids might live and what Dad Dash's kids might be doing. And I found that mighty offensive. I found that more than a little bit offensive. Yeah, I found that offensive. And so I changed my location a few times, and I'm in undisclosed locations because, well, there are some bad people out there trying to do bad things. And as Thomas Schubeck says, we don't always know. We don't always know which ones are joking, which ones are real psychopaths or any of those things. I ain't scared. But I ain't stupid either, right? When you got bad actors up there saying bad things for people to record on the internet, I think it behooves us all to assume when people are telling us they're evil, rotten, murderous, people-hurting bastards that we listen to them. I'm not in the position of letting people that I care about be threatened and not worrying about it. So I changed my location, and that's the way that works. And that could happen to any of us. Don't forget that you folks are talking about things like revolution. Well, it's going to take a revolution. Now, revolution doesn't have to be violent. That's one of those beautiful things. That's one of those beautiful. Yes, it does suck, Mike, and that's why I got a little angry about it. Not much make Dad Dash angry. That makes me angry. You don't want to mess with my family. So one of the things that, I lost my train of thought. Completely lost my train of thought. That's all right. I think our point here, and I probably should wrap this up because I know that I can go on for too long. I could talk to you guys for probably the rest of my life and I would not get tired of it. And I'm not going anywhere yet, so I'll be talking to you more. But I'm going to wrap this up this morning. But I wanted to tell you about that little part in jail. And I'm sure my friend Thomas Schubeck will talk to you about that more too, because he's been talking a lot about the people standing for themselves. And the absolute fact that there's not a political party or a politician out there that's going to save us. Not one. None of them that Steve Johnson Rideshare Rodeo is profiting off of. None of those lobbyists that are getting the hundreds of millions of dollars from the industry. None of them governors, Democrats and Republicans vetoing bills that might give you some kind of protections. Never. Neither you nor I are going to live long enough to ever see that day when these people stand up for us. Torp is probably out working because Torp's a real guy. Torp will see this soon enough. And hopefully Torp can watch 15 minutes without me boring him too bad. I'm sorry, Torp. Anyway, I'm gonna say, have a great day to all you folks. I got some fun plans for me today, and well, as far as that book goes, I'm thinking that it looks like you guys might have that in your hands before the holidays, before the Christmas holidays. And that's kind of Dad Dash's plan right now. It's all written, but we got to put it into that book form. You got to put it into that book form so you can read it. You can't just take a whole bunch of words and put them online. You got to actually put them in a book form. That's not as easy to do, even when all the words are written. Yes, sir, Stephen Arrow. Thank you, Metal Mike. Thank you, Briggs, my dear friends. Thank you for stopping in and making those good comments. Luciano, Sinful Toaster. Remember to go follow my friends Bigfoot Dash. That's a wholesome account. That's a good people doing good things. AZ Prod, thank you so much. Ahmad Zoe, stepping over illegal immigrants. That's right, Ahmad. Thank you so much. I have not met you before. Let me see. Dad Dash don't have his glasses on. It says Ahmad Z. Old Dad Dash can't tell the difference between a Z and an O. That's how old Dad Dash is. All right. 100% of the problem. All right. Well, so there's going to be a lot to chew up here, and I bet you my friend Glitch Dash Thomas Schubeck going to help you chew it up later. You all have a wonderful day, and my best to all of you. Peace, and we're out of here.